I think we need to, social media is a very big avenue for the public. Majority of Kenyans are on social media, and I would like to see the ministry actually put out a lot of these conversations in short bites. You know, there's TikTok, there's shorts on YouTube, there's also social media. So get the whole public engaged in this conversation by throwing out bits and bobs of the fourth medium-term plan. But for me, as a member of Nairobi, I'm very proud at the level at which we've taken PPPs, the fact that we have an office dealing with PPPs, and we are making it more attractive. That way we will reduce spending bills and will save the government a lot of money. And I also feel that we need to find a way as Nairobi, because of the slums that we have and the population that we have in Nairobi, we need to find a solution to getting the houses. We used to talk about 150,000 houses. Now I think we need over 300,000 houses every year. So how do we make it more attractive to investors to come in and put the houses? The government has to find a way to work with the investors so that they can make that investment without feeling insecure in a foreign country, and also pick our own people ourselves, because we've seen every time we float something on the stock market, it's oversubscribed. So is there a way that we can get people involved in housing? Because I still feel that there's a lot that can be done there. But all in all, I believe that right now the biggest challenge that we have is that we don't have enough dollars in this country, and they have to find a solution. I've been meeting a lot of manufacturers recently, and they're all complaining that they're not getting enough dollars to be able to buy their raw materials. Now, if our manufacturers are not able to access raw materials, today in Nairobi we don't have petrol in a number of places. Obviously the impact of Ukraine war is beginning to show its ugly face, and we've just come out of a pandemic. We need quick responses. We need really quick, efficient responses, just like the president did when we saw Nairobi collapsing, informing the NMS and finding solutions through the NMS. And I really feel that if Kenyans look, sometimes some of these solutions, you might not agree with them because you want to go the longer route, but the longer route is dangerous. So the short, being bold and making firm decisions like NMS to save Nairobi was fantastic, and I think we've all seen the benefits. So all in all, this discussion, take it to the social media, get Kenyans discussing every pointer. You know, it was nice to note that we did well in terms of rice. We didn't do very well in terms of maize, but we're doing well in terms of milk. You know, all these crops. And how do we get our youth? I've been told that the average age of farmers is 58 and growing. So how do we get our youth interested in farming so that we can improve our food security? But all in all, as Nairobians, we're very happy that we've got so many new hospitals through NMS, and we've opened KU, okay, it's in Kiambu, but it serves Nairobi. We've opened the Kenyatta Hospital in Korogocho. This was a stall project for over 25 years, so I'm very proud to be in government at a time such as this, where we've done a lot of good projects.
Thank you. I would like to say that the public is very well involved in Nairobi. We've invited everybody, including the youth, women leaders, civil societies, our institutions like JQuat and UN are here. So basically everybody's here, and they're all participating and giving their views on the projects that they would like implemented in the city. Yeah. Unfortunately, you were not able to be inside there. There was a presentation that was made on where we are in terms of implementation. Many of the projects that were planned in the MTP3 have been achieved. One major one being the expressway, which we are very, very proud of. We have very many hospitals that have been opened in Nairobi, apart from the UHC program that we are also implementing. So basically, we have done a lot of progress. I would require a lot of time to give all the projects that we have been able to do, but we have achieved a lot.
Implements of MTP3, they've been considerable, and I'd just simply like to amplify some of the key developments that have been taken place beyond the infrastructure, the schools, and other key amenities and essential items. We have witnessed Nairobi playing a significant role on the World Index with respect to business reforms. We're currently within the phase of MTP3. We have achieved a number at 56, and what this means is that there's been tremendous reforms within the business ecosystems. And this translates into greater levels of productivity, innovation and efficiency of all policies, legislations, regulations and standards pertaining to the business environment. We've seen a tremendous growth of registration, almost 400 a day, by way of people being involved in registering their businesses. The registration time, which took almost a couple of months, has now been streamlined to a 24-hour registration process, taking into consideration all the aspects of compliance, whether it's taxation or social benefits and so on. Efforts have been put in place with respect to accessing electricity, water connections, the ability to find ways in which we're able to reduce the time taken and the threshold for connections of electricity have been greatly reduced, thereby assisting the business community, but also the context of how we now address small claims issues. A small claims court has been established by way of ensuring that cases up to 1 million shillings are heard within 60 days at no cost. And all of this ensures that we're able to promote the highest level of compliance on one hand, but one of the great achievements of Nairobi as a county has been its enabling an environment towards business reforms, and this is by world capacities. Further to that, efforts have been put with respect to our ongoing efforts now to address compliance issues within the counties, and an elaborate program will take place to ensure that we address all compliance issues, thereby transitioning county governments into economic generators that then multiply and add to the weight of Nairobi. Our recent success with respect to an MTP on regional affairs is the inclusion of Congo, making the East African community a 7-state member, and indeed one of the most profound world developments, by the fact that this will mean that we will be a population of 259 million people, the 4th largest population as an economic bloc in the world. After India, China, the United States comes the East African community. But with it, we acquire 5.5 million square kilometers and endless possibilities by way of a trade route that cuts across the continent and starts from the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. The ability for us to enjoy the 5% growth rate within the East African partner states, making it the fastest growing region in the world. And all of this has a tremendous implication by way of how Kenya promotes that resilience, self-reliance, but most importantly, inclusive development, and how holistically the leveraging capacity of the EAC addresses through its 16 sectoral councils spanning defense, economics, healthcare, to consolidate and to leverage what reforms have taken place within the context of Kenya. So indeed, these are all part of MTP3, together with what we've witnessed as Kenyans, the increase in enrollment in technical vocational institutions to approximately 500,000 students on a yearly basis, the transition to competency-based education, but most importantly, the transition of young people into education has been a key feature of MTP3, together with the tremendous investment throughout the country by way of healthcare systems, and the coverage of universal healthcare has been a testimony towards some of the great achievements of the MTP3. But as we look forward and beyond the infrastructure and the national essentials, the need for greater collaboration between the public sector, the private sector, and all stakeholders, the civil society and so on, in order to ensure that we're able to build onto these gains, but align it more to the very aspirations of Vision 2030, and those were to find ways in which we promote greater levels of prosperity, greater levels of education as far as relevance and equity is concerned, and to be able to address aspects of healthcare and promote the necessary equity, quality and relevance of healthcare throughout the region. And so the MTP4 is a very important structure which bridges the very importance of MTP3, but now tries to significantly re-strategize based on stakeholder involvement and stakeholder commitment and a collective responsibility towards progress as we go forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Especially for Nairobi County?
Indeed, it's to take stock and to also reimagine what the MTP4 holds for us. And within this context, we see that the guiding vision today is social economic transformation as a driver towards inclusive development as well as resilience of our county, and how that plays into the very important role that the county of Nairobi, in consideration of the fact that it contributes to 60% of our GDP, is one of the powerhouses for the development of the nation, but most importantly how it embraces young people and the population from outside Nairobi to find ways in which they're able to promote their lives and livelihoods within the context of the capital. Indeed, Nairobi is a world-class city. It's not only has one of the most vibrant, multicultural, cosmopolitan facets to it, but it's one of the most incredible features by way of its game parks, its lifestyle, its a way in which it engages society, and the way it promotes social development. And so within the context of all of this, and today being the fourth medium-term plan accession, and most importantly this being the penultimate medium-term plan with respect to Vision 2030 and its efforts towards establishing a middle-income status economy and the promotion of equity and inclusive development for all. It is a very important stage where we would like to see to it that as much as possible that stakeholders are involved, and has always been the tradition of government to involve key stakeholders, the civil society, the academia, the private sector and the public sector, to see to it that this be a collaborative effort, that we provide strategies and structures for a way forward that addresses those very values that we cherish as Nairobians, and those include, promoting greater equity, finding ways in which all opportunities efficiently accessible by all, the quality of life, the ability to enjoy social spaces, access healthcare, the ability to find ways in which we're able to access education and social connection, in view of the fact that this is a very rich diversity that promotes innovation within all contexts, whether it's social, economic or environment. And of course the ability to promote innovation. Innovation is extremely important, and within that context how the MTP4 will yield this collective effort, collective ownership and collective responsibility, which is much needed in order to accelerate our position, but most importantly address some of the emerging challenges, especially the devastation that the pandemic has caused, has been unprecedented, and the need for us to collectively work together to synergize. But it's also to address strategic initiatives by way of public-private partnerships and the promotion of our efforts towards addressing high oil prices and various other aspects. All of this requires a community of innovation, and Nairobi is very much well up to it to achieve such progress in the very short time and the concerns of the country. So indeed a very exciting day, a very good turnout, and we look forward to all the insights, thoughts and ideas. As part of government, this is a tradition as far as policy formulation is concerned, and it's through these consultations that we will find new avenues in order to address some of the emerging challenges that we see are pertinent and need to be choreographed as far as how we approach them.